Hi guys, welcome back to the channel The Boss's Way. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at Kingdra in the Rocket On format. So kind of a sneak peek of the card here. This is the card that we're going to be looking at, Kingdra. This Kingdra is actually considered possibly the best deck in the base Neo format. It's probably not as strong as, well, it definitely isn't as strong in the Rocket On format, but it's still a pretty good deck. And it revolves around using its first attack here, Genetic Memory, to copy its pre-evolution attack. So we're going to jump into that. That's kind of a sneak peek of it there. Just actually kind of noticing that this Kingdra I have here is actually a first edition one. But I obviously prioritise playing with the cards over just collecting them. So we use this Kingdra here. So that's just a sneak peek of what we're going to be building or showing you today in our build for Kingdra. So to jump right into it, guys, we play Cleffa, kind of a rare case here. We only play 3 copies of Cleffa in this build. That's because we want to bench base at a premium. We have our Kingdra pieces, and we want to be able to go into the next Kingdra when the first one gets knocked out and have that ready to go. But we also, as well, have other Pokemon we play in the deck as well. So we start off with 3 Cleffa instead of our usual 4. Cleffa again, just really good for its Eek attack, that shuffle draw 7, and also the baby rule, just making it really awkward to kind of get around on a coin flip to attack Cleffa. So yeah, Cleffa just a staple card in the format. We play 3 of them. Of course, you can always make an argument to play 4. So we jump into Horsey now. So we play the Horsey here, 50 hit point Horsey with 2 waters for Fin Slap. If an attack damaged Horsey during your opponent's last turn, this attack does 20 damage plus 10 more damage. If not, it just does 20. Again, very rarely you'd be attacking with Horsey, but to do 30 on a basic isn't bad at all in this format. Again, we pick this Horsey more so for the 50 hit points rather than its attack, because with decks like Dark Crobat, around in the format, 40 hit point Pokemon are just very, very risky to have sitting on your bench. Cleffas are even riskier as well. Then we play 4 copies of Seadra. So this Seadra here, 70 hit point Seadra. First attack bubble for water does 10 damage, and flip a coin of heads to defend Pokemon are paralyzed. But second attack, which is actually the star attack of the whole deck, is Mud Splash for 2 waters. Does 30, and if your opponent has any bench Pokemon, you get to choose one of them and flip a coin, and if heads, you get to put 10 damage on that Pokemon as well and do 10 damage to it. So Mud Splash, this is the attack that you're going to be using Kingdra's Genetic Memory on to copy. But the whole point of the deck is then you might ask, well, why don't we just use Seadra and forget about Kingdra? Well, Kingdra does have 20 more hit points, which we'll see in a second, but Genetic Memory is just for 1 colourless, so that's why it's good to have it, whereby Seadra needs 2 water to attack. And you'll see later on with our Recycle Energy how easy it is for us to get back-to-back Genetic Memories going very quickly, which is just a quicker and more efficient way of using Mud Splash, as strange as it may sound. Instead of just using Mud Splash on the Pokemon that actually has Mud Splash, it's actually easier to string back-to-back Mud Splashes with Kingdra, and obviously Kingdra has more hit points, so it's a stronger Pokemon too. But there's our 4 copies of Seadra. We play 4 copies because, that Mud Splash is super important. That's Kingdra's main attack, but so we can't go short on the Seadra pieces. Some decks we might play Breeder and things like that to get into our stage 2 as quick as possible, but we actually want to be evolving up through Seadra so that we can Genetic Memory Mud Splash. So this is Kingdra now, our main attacker of the deck. So Kingdra is the main attacker, Seadra has the main attack, so it's a pretty interesting deck. Genetic Memory, use any attack from Kingdra's basic Pokemon or Evolution card line if Kingdra doesn't have to pay for that attack's energy cost. So as long as you play one colourless to get genetic memory working, genetic memory will copy any of Seadra or Horsey's attacks, and the best attacked copy is Mud Splash. 1 for 30 is, and then possibly with 10 on a coin flip on the bench, it's pretty good. If it was just a guaranteed 10 on the bench, it'd be even better, but like many things in Rocket On, it's all about coin flip. So it is on a coin flip. But still, if you can get your Kingdra pretty quick, you can put some early pressure on, and it's very good. And you can start chipping away at Clefas on the bench as well. So that's our main attacker, Kingdra. A notable thing about Kingdra as well is it has no weakness at all. So it isn't going to get slapped for easy knockouts with weakness. It doesn't resist anything, but it doesn't have any weakness, so it's pretty good. It also has Twister. So flip 2 coins. This is for 2 water and 2 colourless. Does 50 damage. Flip 2 coins. For each heads, choose 1 energy attached to found in Pokemon, if any, and discard it. If both are tails, this attack does nothing, not even damage. So you'd have to be pretty unlucky to get both tails and you don't do anything. In an ideal world, you do 50 damage and you take away an energy, and maybe even 2 energy if you get 2 heads. Again, not an awful attack. It can be actually nice if you're going up against Steelix decks and they're playing their, metal energy, reducing your damage. So you do have an out to getting rid of and stripping those energies off, metal energies off Steelix, or maybe even if you see them in Blaine's Arcanine, as we have a copy or 2 in our deck as well. So it's nice to have the option. I mean, 4 energies is expensive enough, but then there's not really any energy removal in this format, so it is doable. So that's our 4 Kingdras. Now, we do play other Pokemon as well, namely a 1/1 Grimer Muck line. So we've seen these before in other decks. So Muck with the Toxic Gas Pokemon power. Ignore all Pokemon powers other than Toxic Gas. So and it stops working if there's a status condition on Muck. So the great thing about this is, and for us, is that our main attacker Kingdra doesn't require any Pokemon powers. So when Muck's out there, it's not causing us any problems. It's not affecting our strategy, but it could be a problem for your opponent. So if you're up against the Blaine's Arcanine, for instance, Typhlosion won't be able to use its ability to get fire from the discard. If you're against Feraligatr, they won't be able to use their ability to get water energy. And Feraligatr is obviously the best deck in the format. And then you have loads of other cards, like Dark Crobat has its sniping ability. And there's just so many cards in the format that do use, I keep saying abilities, but they're called Pokemon powers back then. So Muck just stops all that, and at no cost to you or to your strategy, and it's not like you have to time it. Certain decks play Muck, but then also have Pokemon powers, and they have to be careful when they drop it down. Not with Kingdra, because Kingdra doesn't have any. So it works really well. We also play 1 copy of Tyrogue for that Smash Punch. Flip a coin of heads. This attack does nothing, but if you do get heads, it's 30 damage on a colourless attacker as well. So it's just very versatile. And again, just getting that 30 damage really quick off the board it can be really, really useful to us, especially if we're getting a few snipes off on the bench. So then when something does come to the active, it could be softened up, and you have Tyrogue there to finish it off. Also, Tyrogue is one of those cards that's kind of like a reduced risk card in a way, because it's a baby Pokemon, so there's a chance that it won't get knocked out as well, and it can buy you a turn or 2. We also play another baby Pokemon after Cleffa and Tyrogue, and that is Pichu. So Pichu has that Zap attack, does 20 damage to each Pokemon in play that has a Pokemon power. So if this can help snipe with Kingdra. So if Kingdra's putting 10 here and there with genetic memories and Mud Splash, you can then bring Pichu out, and if your opponent has a bench full of Pokemon powers, then you can do 20 damage to those Pokemon as well, and maybe even kind of speed up them being knocked out. And again, because Pichu is a baby Pokemon, it can put your opponent under a bit of pressure, because if they flip tails trying to knock Pichu out, then you might get a second zap off, and then you're doing 40 damage, and there could have been maybe 10 or 20 damage put on already by Kingdra. So you can, with this deck, you can take multiple prizes, which is really good. You'll notice that with Zap it says does 20 damage to each Pokemon played that has a Pokemon power. So our Muck does have a Pokemon power, so that is something to bear in mind. when we're playing Pichu, but a really, really versatile card. In previous builds, I would have had a heavier Pichu count, but from playing it a bit more, I think 1 is fine in the deck with the Tyrogue. But there is definitely scope for a second one, and I wouldn't hate it, and I've done it before. So on to the supporters, standard stuff. We have our 4 copies of Professor Elm. So this is your, shuffle draw 7. But if you play Elm, then that's it. You can't play any more trainer cards for the rest of the turn. So if you are wanting to play other cards, trainer cards, make sure they come before Elm. So Elm is kind of like, as we said before, the first modern day version of a supporter. We play the Rocket Sneak Attack. Look at your opponent's hand. If he or she has any trainers, choose one of them, and your opponent shuffles that into his or her deck. So again, kind of slowing your opponent down as we're getting our Kingdras out and spreading damage. And we play 4 copies of that disruptive card to, I suppose, give us a bit of time setting up our stage 2 and to slow down our opponent as well. So we play our Focus Band as well. A really important card. So if Pokemon the Focus Band's attached to, should it be knocked out, you flip a coin, and if heads, that Pokemon stays on the field with 10 hit points left. A real staple in this format. We play 4 of them. Again, it's really fantastic if we can get an extra turn out of our Kingdra, or even if we attach it to one of our baby Pokemon, Clefaiz, Tyrogue, Pichu. Especially Pichu, if you're getting a few spread damage attacks off, and then you have the baby rule and a Focus Band to get through. By the time your opponent gets through them, Pichu might have done a nice bit of damage as well, which is really, really useful card and important card. We also have our Double Gust card as well, and again, Double Gust is just a great card for bringing out Pokemon from your opponent's bench. Obviously, then you take one out from your bench as well. We play 3 copies of that. Double Gust is just great for, I suppose, Pokemon that are on the bench that have been softened up. You can then take out, but then obviously your opponent gets to pick out one of your Pokemon. But the really great thing about it is that most of our Pokemon, like our babies, have free retreat. Muck now does have 2. Kingdra has 2 in fairness. Seadra and Horsey have 1, so they're not hugely expensive. And remember, even if you have to pay to retreat with Kingdra, as long as you have even just 1 of any energy, you can still get your genetic memory off, which is really, really good. And if you're paying to retreat and you're using your recycle energy, then it goes back to your hand, so it's really, really useful. Okay, we then on to our stadiums. We play 2 Narrow Gym. So Narrow Gym just says no player may have more than 4 Pokemon on his or her bench, and if there's already a 5th Pokemon there, then you have to choose one of them and remove it and all cards attached to it. So again, we need to play stadiums in this deck as well, because there's annoying things like Chaos Gym going around. The dark decks tend to play Rocket's Hideout for the extra 20 damage. So it's always nice to have a stadium, to counteract other stadiums. So this is possibly the best one for this deck. You're reducing your opponent's bench as well, so that can kind of restrict their strategy as well. Obviously you're reducing yours too, but that can be useful if you want to maybe get rid of something on your bench that's close to a KO. So just a really versatile card, and we play 2 copies of it. Then we play Pokemon Center. So we play 3 copies of Pokemon Center to give us a bit of tankability in the deck. So it says remove all damage counters from all of your Pokemon with damage counters on them, and then discard all energy. So this is a really, really great card for this deck, because Kingdra only needs usually 1 energy for genetic memory, because you don't really tend to use Twister that often. So then you can drop down your Pokemon Center to heal off a Kingdra, making it tankier, and then you lose your energy that's attached to it, which can be recycle energy, and it goes to the discard. But then because of recycle energy, it goes automatically back into your hand, and you can throw it down again and attach it to Kingdra, and then attack with genetic memory again. So it's a great combo to be like, Pokemon Center, heal off my damage off Kingdra, recycle energy that's attached to it goes to the discard pile, then because of its ability brings it straight back into your hand, you attach it straight back down, and you genetic memory again, but this time with your Kingdra with full health, which is fantastic. So we play 3 copies of them. Could see the argument for 4, but 3 at the moment's working out pretty okay. We then have Imposter Oak's Revenge. So, discard a card from your hand in order to play this card. Your opponent shuffles his or her hand into his or her deck and then draws 4 cards. So you're restricting your opponent down to 4 cards. So again, just more disruption to slow them down. You might have your Muck out. You might have Imposter Oak's Revenge. You might have had a Rocket Sneak attack. These are all to slow your opponent down as you kind of spread damage around the board and build up your own board state as well. So you're reducing their hand size. With Imposter Oak's Revenge, you're reducing their trainer options in their hand with Rocket Sneak attack, and you're reducing their bench size with Narrow Gym, and then you're reducing their plays with Muck, stopping them from using Pokemon powers. Okay, so it's again all to support your main strategy of Kingdra and sniping damage, and taking quick KOs, especially if you see baby Pokemon on the bench. So we play 2 of the Imposter Oak's Revenge. We play Nightly Garbage Run. 2 copies of Nightly Garbage Run, again just for recovery. So you can pick any combination of energy or basic revolution Pokemon from your deck and put them, or from your discard pile and put them into your deck. So that's great for taking back our pieces that get knocked out here, our horsey pieces, or if someone does get a knockout on the Muck, you have a way of bringing Muck back with Grimer as well. We play Pokemon Trader. We play 4 copies of Pokemon Trader in the deck. It's pretty important considering we have so many different Pokemon. So we get to trade one of our basic Pokemon Evolution cards in our hand for a basic Revolution Pokemon card in our deck and show it to our opponent. So really good because we play so many Pokemon in the deck. We play 4, 8, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 Pokemon. So, you might have a Pichu in your hand, but you really want a Kingdra, so you take out your Trader. Or Trader's even really, really good as well for getting the one-offs, like your one-off Tyrogue, your one-off Pichu, your one-off Muck, your one-off Grimer. So we play 4 of them, and it's always a card that you're happy to see in your hand. That's our 4 Trader. So now we're on to our energy cards. So this is possibly one of the star cards of the show, of the deck, and that is our Recycle Energy card. So we play 4 copies of our Recycle Energy. I'll just find an English version for you here. So Recycle Energy provides colorless energy, doesn't count as basic energy card. If this card is put into your discard pile from play, return it to your hand. So as I was saying, like if you attach this to your Kingdra for genetic memory, and if Kingdra gets knocked out, Recycle Energy goes to the discard pile, but then brings it back to your hand because it's being removed from play. Again, Pokemon Center makes you discard it from play into your discard pile, so then it goes back to your hand. So it's a really brilliant card, and we play 4 copies of it. And if you're getting your Recycle Energy and you're getting your genetic memories off with your Pokemon Centers, then the deck's really, really flowing for you. We also play 2 copies of Full Heal Energy in the deck. A Full Heal Energy reads: if you play this card from your hand, the Pokemon you attach it to, is no longer asleep, confused. So basically what it does is, it essentially, if there's a status condition on your Pokemon, you attach this and it doesn't have it anymore. Now, we just put this, like the deck doesn't really need it as such, but it's a nice option to have if for whatever reason your Kingdra is paralyzed or asleep or confused, because it only needs 1 colorless to attack. You can play down Full Heal Energy, and not only will it get rid of the status condition, but it will allow Kingdra to use its genetic memory. Now the deck will totally function without it, but it's just kind of, I suppose, using that kind of unique scenario where it only needs 1 colorless energy to attack. So Full Heal kind of just covers all possibilities, and it gives you an out to be in status conditioned, and not only does it give you an out like what a regular Full Heal item card would, but it lets you attack as well because genetic memory only costs 1 colorless, and it serves that as well. So it's really kind of a useful card to have. Just there could be 3 or 4 games where you don't need it at all, and then there's that 1 game where you do, and you're always happy to see it in the deck that you have it. Then wrapping up our energy count, we play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 water energy cards as well. Obviously you can still use water energy to use genetic memory as well. If you want to get your Twister attack off, you need at least 2 waters for the 4 energy costs. So it's obviously useful to have it. If you're ever in a super bind and you're attacking with Seadra, then you're going to need 2 water energy to get that attack off. So we do need to play some actual physical copies of water energy in the deck too, as well as our recycle and our full heal. So guys, that has been Kingdra for the Rocket On format. Kingdra is one of my first decks that I ever built myself for Rocket On. I have a real soft spot for it. I really love the deck. I like how it plays. Sometimes when you're playing Kingdra, it does feel like it doesn't have enough power behind it, especially towards the mid to late game. I'd say this deck possibly isn't that great in the late game. It kind of tends to lose power at that stage. Other decks have kind of built up and they're hitting for bigger numbers than you. Kingdra, I think, is at its best early to mid game. You know, you want to kind of more or less have the game wrapped up by the mid game with your sniping. And with your restriction cards, with your Imposter's Oath Revenge, and frustrating your opponent with the bans and the babies and things like that. But a super, super fun deck to play. Let me know if you've tried this out yourself, either in real life or on TCG1, or you have a different list for it, and what you think of this list. Okay, guys, thanks very much. This has been The Boss's Way.